Dear students, welcome to the Teleconference of Public Administration on the topic New Public Service. This program is for the UG semester 2 from the first year and also the PG first semester students. This lesson is very important from the perspective of the syllabus as well as for the competitive examinations as well. As we all know, public administration as a discipline and as practice has been central to the governance. But as a discipline, over a period of time, it has been evolved through the different phases. Earlier, it emphasized on hierarchy, rules and other aspects, and later on, it focused more on the market-oriented reforms. But governance is not just about the control and management, but it is for the people, for the working for the public interest as well. So in this context, new public service has emerged. So to discuss more about this topic, new public service, we have with us two eminent public administration professors with us today this afternoon. First, let us welcome them and let me introduce them to you. We have with us Professor Pardhasarahi sir. Professor Pardhasarahi sir is an eminent public administration professor who has retired from Osmania University. Professor Pardhasarahi sir has contributed a lot to the curriculum development of various universities including Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. Sir is associated with our department right from its inception. And sir has several lessons on Swayam and on Dr. BRAOU YouTube also. Sir has contributed a lot as a teacher, researcher and also administrator. So we welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Pallavi.
We have Professor Srinivas Reddy sir, eminent professor from Public Administration and HRM department. Sir is retired professor from Kakatiya University and currently sir is Dean in Aurora Business School. Sir is very active both in teaching, research and also poetry is sir's passion. Sir writes on the contemporary issues in a very poetic and thought-provoking way. Sir has contributed a lot to the research and also to the curriculum development of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. Professor Srinivas Reddy sir is associated with our department right from its inception, has been contributing to the different courses of public administration, both UG and PG, and sir has authored several books. So we welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Paul.
So dear students, now we are discussing about new public service. Now I request Professor Pardhasarahi sir, could you please throw light on the evolutionary aspect of the public administration and what led to the emergence of the new public service?
Dear students, as the saga of the administrative theory and the public administration, we have various phases and various different type of waves are there in public administration. It started from the traditional model of public administration, what we discuss about Max Weber's bureaucracy, later about Woodrow Wilson's dichotomy of politics and administration, and about Luther Gulick principles of administration. This was one phase of the before 1930s. Later we entered into the behavioralistic school of public administration. In the behavioralistic school of public administration started with the Simon, later various motivational theories. All these dominated, particularly from after the Second World War time, this behavioralistic school and all this has come. Later, theory of the public administration entered into different phases. Sometimes we have gone with the public policy, now one of the major discipline in all over the world. By 1970s, there is a change in the world. The change has come, it is a shift to the market model of economy in all over the world, market model of a society also. It started with public choice school. It started with the public choice school in the 1970s. The first time this school questioned the bureaucratic authority, questioned the state. Then why this is a domination of the state, authoritative of the state, why the bureaucracy is a continuous and permanence, why the politicians are going for every 5 years out of the power and other things, why the bureaucratic system is continuing like that. These type of questions were started by the public choice school in the 1970s. Later, the extension of the public choice school, we entered into the new public management. New public management again raised the issue of efficiency. We can understand about new economic policies, new other things. Everything has started even in India at that time particularly. New public management is one of the important conceptual change in understanding. Our understandings are started changing about new public management raised market is important. Market model of a system is important, not like a government administrative structure. We used to say as a students of the public administration, what is public administration? Public administration is government in action. No, the new public management started questioning it. State is one of the component, not at all total. Market is important because they raised different type of arguments of in support of that, because some of the multinational corporations daily transactions of the money is much more than the country's budgets also. They started a different type of arguments in all over the world, and it has led, this new public management later led to the globalization concept. Then liberalization, privatization, ultimately we entered by the 2000, we entered into the globalization. All the globe is a small village anywhere. These type of a logic of arguments which created model of a governance. This new public management is a little bit extension into understanding of the same market model of the governance. Governance talks about again three type of things. Governance says yes, state is important. Yes, along with the state, market is important. Along with the market, civil society is important. These tripod of the market, state, market, civil society, which are the dominant areas of the governance has taken, but one of the important aspect is in this type of a civil society system, instead of a political mobilization, political activity, they supported NGOs, other type of a different type of a actors into that, not with the political system and the people's participation and etc. After this, governance model which dominated all over the world, some of the departments of the public administration entered into the departments of the governance also, and they changed the curriculum, syllabus, etc. It is one of the dominant focus is after 2000 governance. Governance is linked with the globalization. Later, Denhert and Denhert, this is about the two professors, Janet and Robert, working in the South California University. They came with a new book called New Public Service. This new public service in 2003 they contributed actually, which is the 4 different type of a publications has come. I think as of my knowledge it was a 2015 was the 4th edition of the Denhert and Denhert public service. They raised one fundamental question. New public management and also a governance. These both treating the public as a customers, not an important aspect, and treating them as a mechanical aspect rather than a human attitude, human empathy, ethics, these type of things are gone. Adding to that, technology, which was an important area, has dominated. Ultimately, this mechanization of the process of decision making has become more and more. Denhert and Denhert both, they objected this part. We are missing the human being in that. Just you recall the traditional public administration whenever we talk. Simon raised the important issues, later people raised the important issues, Mayo raised the important issues. This is a human being is important, not other things. The same Denhert and Denhert also raised the same issue. We have to treat public as a citizens, not customers. Adding to this, the another important aspect raised about the new public governance. New public governance is another important added afterwards which has come. This is the saga of the development of the public administration. In a different milestones are there.
Yes,
that's a Pallavi.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Pardhasarahi, sir. You have discussed very elaborately like how the public administration has evolved. So, Professor Srinivas Reddy, sir, could you please throw more light on the evolution, like how it has evolved? What is the process?
Yeah, I think we can have a slightly different way of highlighting the evolution of the new public service. I for one would try to divide public administration theory disciplines development in 5 phases. The first is the ancient period, kind of administrative theorization was not done. although big empires were there and very strong administrative systems were there, but the first phase of public administration's evolution was based on patrimonial authority, where the king or the emperor was the dispenser of authority, and patronage was the main source of administrative power. And from then we had a theory. The real theorization in public administration started with the classical theory. Classical theory mainly focused on the structure, and it's basically a prescriptive theory. They would say that administration should be like this. And the classical theory is also largely not a theory of so much of public administration, but is a theory of administration, which applies both to public sector and private sector. And after this, we had neoclassical theory. We also call it as human relations theory, wherein what was considered important was the behavior is equally important, not only merely structure. So therefore, this kind of theory has come, and there are post-behavioral theories. And finally, the new public service theory takes off from the last rubric, which is called as post-modern theorization on public administration. I think this theorization is in a way anti-theory, anti-foundational. It questions many fundamentals of public administration. We believe that in public administration neutrality is important. Civil servants are supposed to be neutral and all that, but postmodern theory of public administration does not. It started off with new public administration which emphasized the commitment on the part of the civil servants. They should not be neutral, they should be on the side of the poor people, they should be pro-change, proactive and all that. So it is in this context this theory has come. Vincent and Robert Jarnett have contributed this theory, and it was, I think, various publications of this are there, and prior to this in 1990s itself this kind of thinking has started, and it is basically, it started off from a trenchant critique of new public management. New public management theory is a theory which emphasizes on public-private partnership. It says that market should be the focus, administrators should be focusing on the consumers, and it is based on, as Professor Pardhasarahi said, public choice theory. The consumer should be sovereign, they should have their choice and all that. The administrator should take a cue from market principle, and it is based on assumed efficiency of the private sector. It is thought that private sector is more efficient than public sector, therefore we have to replicate the practices of private sector to get mileage in public administration. Of course, this is only an assumption. Quickly to correct this assumption, most of the private companies, I think 90% of the private companies don't go beyond a year. So if that is taken into consideration, they are as inefficient as public sector, but this was based on that assumption. And India, and it all started with the new right movement, started in Europe and caught up in US and also in India. And added to this, we had our globalization, an inevitable entry of multinational corporations, and therefore privatization had to be given. It is a critique of that. And new public service approach says that the public servant should be dispensers of democracy, not business. They have to not steer, they have to serve the people. Service, that is why the last word public service is important. It tries to emphasize on two things. The public is one and service is the other, and it takes a bottom up approach also. It wants to see things from the perspective of the citizens, and understanding citizens and serving to the needs of the citizens, not of the state, is the prime objective of the government or public service. This is something in addition to the birth and evolution of the new public service theory.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Srinivas Reddy, sir. You have given a bird's eye view, like what are the different theories, right, from the classical theory and all. So you have explained it very beautifully to our students. So before actually discussing about the new public service in detail, sir, could you, Pardhasarahi sir, could you please throw light on the latest developments in public administration?
Sir, the latest developments are, you take about, the latest means all the time it is related with the new millennium, that is globalization. Globalization aspect actually changed the understanding of the public administration. We previously, everything is related to the state. As per our understanding, public administration is related. Even Wilson said the same thing. We are the latest fruit of a political science tree, where we are going to discuss about the state and other aspects of question. But after 2000, when the globalization system has come, previously we used to say the public and private administrations both are different. But after 2000, when the globalization has taken place, we are saying about both are mutual cooperative system. We have to, public administration has to learn from the private administration. This is a crux of the whole change of the understanding of the theory. It means what is the corporate sector is doing, the same thing has to come to the public systems. That's why when technology we have taken and we are talking about the e-governance and ICT has come, now everything is on online and the money transaction systems. Ultimately what we are talking is an efficiency. The root of the public administration, when actually Luther Gulick understanding, or even before that Henry Fayol, or all people, they started about efficiency is the important. But what is an efficiency as now after the globalization is very fast, last minute, even very fast. Even you take about SMS, you take about a WhatsApp, you take about the Facebook, you talk what not. Within a seconds, we are sending the communications, we are transacting the money, we are sending decisions also in online, people sitting in America, people sitting here. So the whole areas of the public administration, whether it is a decision making, whether it is a coordination, whether it is about the communication, all these basic systems, including a hierarchy, has gone. There is no question of the hierarchy systems. Teams has come, group systems has come, group dynamics has started dominating, a different type of a teams has come. So this actually is the change in public administration, which actually these are reflected in new public management, reflected in governance, reflected in public service, reflected in new governance also, new public governance also. This is the latest trend what we understand public administration.
Thank you, sir. So as you said that it has been changed to the new public management and it's focusing on the efficiency.
Yes.
So Professor Srinivas Reddy sir, could you throw a little more light on this NPM, that is the new public management and efficiency?
Yeah, new public management, the basic idea was because of the shifts in political currents, both in US and England, there are political fortunes of the political parties are fluctuating. Whenever the pro-right parties come to power, they try to shift the balance in favor of the market, and pro-state things do it the other way around. So this is how it has emerged, and in India, under very compelling circumstances, we had to go for new public management model by globalizing and inviting foreign capital and all that. But of course, one important question that new public service, just to link it up, is the question of democratic deficit. For instance, by promoting market orientation, by inviting foreign capital, and also by giving a big push to the private sector and all that, India is a country because of there is a centuries old accumulated deficit, democratic deficit. The SCs, STs, BCs and certain sections of the society were not involved into the mainstream decision making, and just at a time since independence, these classes originally, although reservations were there, they were not able to get into public services. But later when education came, this retreatism, state going away from economic, the mainstream, has really affected the people, and therefore the theory, new public service theory, assumes importance, and it basically is based on the concept of organizational humanism. So organization should be human centered, and of course there are certain principles of new public service which we will take when you raise that question.
Okay, thank you, sir. So Professor Pardhasarahi sir, can you please tell us like what is the actual impact of NPM before discussing public service?
NPM, yes, it has an impact both in academically and also structural system of the public administration. There is no doubt about it. One important aspect is efficient service delivery. This is the first aspect of the NPM. So service delivery has to be very fast. And the whole issue is why the government, previously we used to write a check and going to a bank and all these things. NPM success actually is linked with the technology. This is one of the important area. Technology which has suddenly has come up at the same time, information technology which has dominated, then NPM ideas, whatever it is, it has reality has come. Instead of check system, we entered into ATM. Instead of ATM, nowadays we went to a different type of a phone pay and other things of it. A service delivery system has to be very fast. This is. Second, consider citizens as the customers or clients, not about a citizen aspect. Citizen is civic rights, etc., human rights, and all this will come. This concept actually questioned, and they simply said about a citizen, you are a customer, you paid a tax, your service is there, we will pay your service. So a different type of a model they created for the citizens are concerned. They simply say it's a client's model of. Another is performance based. Even government employees also targets, actually other important aspect is this target is given to you and you have to reach this target by this time, which actually has taken from a corporate system where they are doing in the market. The same thing they want to apply into the government systems, which actually in reality change the government systems also. Another important aspect is in a public administration, generally we never think of a competitiveness. We think of a service orientation, it will go. Whereas now it has come competitiveness. Competitiveness NPM has created in government administration also. Let us compete between the department, between the people, between the sections and etc. Another thing is it has not a long vision. It has a short term. Another important is outcome focused. This is a short term. We are taking this work. Have to complete in a week. And within this week, on Friday, we are submitting. This is efficiency, performance, and about a short-term outcome. Public service has to be important. With these type of things, that's why NPM is also was called as a neo-Taylorism. Like a tailor, how he has given a scientific management principles and work has to be done. He said about only 4. But whereas the question come here into the new public management, they identified that employee has to be targeted for these works and it has to be completed. Time, other things, all these type, NPM definitely has given about a different type of efficient view. But at the same time, NPM considered the people as a part of the machine and a part of the customer in the market. I have given something, my duty is over. You purchased a Coca-Cola, you have given money, end of it. You have nothing to do with it. This point actually created a gap between a citizen and a government. That's why various governments which has gone for the NPM, that's why Professor Srinivas Reddy sir has said about like that, a different type of a movement. Best NPM state, one is New Zealand, then they said about South Korea. So like that, there's a lot of changes in political turmoils has started about in the various parts of the world. Wherever they said government is going to be like the same thing happened even in India. Some of the governments want to go with a much cruelly like an NPM. It has given a different type of a things and people defeated that type of a government. So NPM focuses on performance, efficiency, and about treating as market oriented system. Yeah. This is important.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. You have well explained about the NPM and its impact, that is the new public management. So dear students, we are discussing about new public service, and if you have any queries, you can please call us on 040-236-80456 on the topic new public service. So far we have discussed about the evolution of public administration and the different aspects, how what are the different what is NPM, that is a new public management, and what are its features and the impact of NPM and all. So now let us discuss about what is new public service. So Professor Srinivas Reddy sir, so what is the concept of new public service?
Yeah, to understand the new public service, we have to understand 7 of its key principles, which are also touted as key features of new public service by Dennart and Dennart. So one is serve citizens, not customers. The point was earlier also made. Treat people as citizens, not as customers. So this market orientation should not go. And this is important. A big contrast is that the NPM considered citizens as sovereigns, whereas NPS, New Public Service, considers citizens as sovereigns, but not consumers as sovereigns. So instead of consumers, it brings in the picture of citizens and what all pleases citizens. The principle of efficiency and rationality. Of course, Professor Pardhasarahi said efficient delivery of services, shortages of many kinds are wiped out and all that. But actually, it has led to a situation where the poor are becoming further poor, further disenfranchised, because the quality education poor people are not able to get, quality medical service poor people are not able to get. So there is a kind of chasm in all the services, and the reservation system is getting freezed at the same level which was. So therefore, this pleas for serving the citizens as sovereigns and what all is needed by them. The bulk of the people being SC, STs and BCs, who constitute about 75-80%. So what is of their interest should be, I think they should have quality education, they should have quality health care, they should have jobs and all that. This is the first principle. And the second is seeking the public interest. So the public interest is what is in the interest of the people, and it is identification, articulation and promotion of public interest. Now in under NPM, the market interest is paraded as public interest, but the considered interests of the people, aggregation of people's interests, have to be seen as public interest, and therefore the second principle of NPS is identify the public interest, articulate means strengthen that public interest and forward it and promote it. The third is value citizenship over entrepreneurship. So there is a feeling under NPS, new public service approach, that entrepreneurs bring in development. So therefore in business schools and all that, we give a lot of training to entrepreneurs and all that. An entrepreneur will create, is a job giver rather than job taker and all that. But now this approach says that we value citizenship more than the entrepreneurship. Public servants should be motivated by a commitment to serve the society and not to serve the business or the consumer. This is the next thing. Serve rather than steer. Your job is to serve. So the primary decision is made by the citizens and what all they want. I think it is based on the assumption that people are sufficiently smart, they understand their needs, they know what are their considered needs for their living and all that. So you try to serve them, you pay a second fiddle to public rather than steering the entire public system.
Yeah, can we take a call, sir?
Yeah, please.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. May I know who is speaking?
My name is Sairam. I'm calling from Khammam. I have a two-part question, madam. Can I ask?
Yes, please.
Madam, my question is like, why is the public sector deteriorated in India? Is it due to administrative policies of the state or other reason? And second question is like regarding the district collector, madam. The question is like, why is the district collector is like human face? Like, so is it like is a professional dedicated and human chief executive officer of the district? Why is working as like that? Thank you, madam.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So why public sector is deteriorating? Yeah, sir.
I think.
Collector
please,
and
please.
you go with the public sector.
No, you ask anyone.
Yeah,
Not a problem.
Yes, please. So Professor Srinivas Reddy, sir, like public sector, could you please answer?
Actually, public sector mismanagement was truly there, and this was because of the people in power sometimes yielding to pressures, political pressures, and giving contracts to people who are not deserving, who are not really efficient and all that. And lot of we hear of lot of money changing hands from contractors to the people in power and all that. Such things are happening. In the light of that, it is believed that private sector is better. But the question is, I think it's a false assumption. In private sector also there can be, private people also can influence. Today it has come in papers that some big 26 big hospitals are operating without registration. So if you open everything, I think there will be bad things also happening. Public sector, I believe, is not inefficient, it is made inefficient. I would endorse this by raising the point that in US, education, quality education is in the public sector. There are public schools. The residents of a particular area, all of them are entitled for a seat in a public school. Only very rich people go to private schools. So it is the high pace of capitalism. There they have taken care. Even in medicine also, a patient cannot be turned away. A doctor is supposed to treat the. Later they may bother about insurance and all that. But in India, I think people are simply put off and all that. So therefore, public sector, I believe a lot of public sector has huge assets. Take the example of Hyderabad. There are, I believe, some 60 to 70 public sector undertakings. Some of them like BHEL and all that, they have thousands and thousands of acres of land. And maybe that the people in power want to use that for some alternate purposes and all that. So I don't think if public sector is properly managed, there are many good examples of cooperative sector. Failure of public sector need not force us to go to private sector only. There is a cooperative sector. There are good cooperative dairies working very profitably and satisfactorily, better than private sector one. So therefore, my take on this is that public sector is made weak, and private sector means people, the real poor are not able to articulate their interests. So it is at the cost of them the private sector is coming.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And Prof. Pardhasarahi, sir, about the district collector.
Yeah, district collector issue. This is a lot of a discussion is going on this part of actually. Right from 1772, the Warren Hastings, and we're talking about the district collector, why it has started. Historically, they started with as a collection of the revenue. Revenue collector is a collector. Collector is a revenue collector. So it's like there was some problem happened in Kolkata and Odisha. Then Warren Hastings came to that point, and finally they started. There is some problems, and they started with a collector. And in 1772, in 1773, actually, they dismantled it, and actually they said this is not required at all. Later, about the 1780s are concerned, British government has finalized, at the time East India Company, they finalized that this type of a collector is required in everywhere and etc., which has continued on a different part. And after Government of India has come, we are recruiting all over India competition about IAS people into the collector systems, and the top people in the country and the intellectuals and all. But established as an administrative structure, district has become one of the important aspects. Though nowadays we are dividing the districts into various small parts, etc., but still a district which is taking care of all departments or related of the government, including the public service, health, revenue, etc. Somebody has to be a collector. Now, the collector is to have a human face. Yes, a collector has to have a human face, because this is where a collector represents citizens, actually civic side. That's why a IPS officer is a police, is represent a different man. He is in a comparatively lower to the collector, because collector represents to the public. That is a basic human face of it. So a collector has to be mingled with the public, and he has to go and talk. That's why majority of the district collector offices are having about monthly once meeting the people, and a different type of timings are open, and etc., etc. And collector is going and suddenly visiting the places, and even some of the collectors are sleeping in the hostels, in the wardens, how the social welfare systems are going on, etc. Definitely in India, they tried about it. This Ahmedabad effect, Ahmednagar effect is one important, and some other things are there. They tried a different aspects of related about alternative to the collector system, but still as of now, yes, collector system is one of the dominant, and it has its own successful merits. I can't say about 100% it has given like that, no, not at all, but yes, 90%, 85% collector system is working and taking care of the people, and also they are maintaining the human face in the present model, whatever we are discussing about new public management or governance systems, whatever we are talking. Collectors also converted, they are coming with the teams, different type of teams, and the group working, group dynamics, etc. also they are taking care, and targeted systems they have given in the e-collectorate. Within a week I will give this certificate, otherwise a penalty has to be given for the employees. All these type of things has come up.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So we were discussing about the new public service, Professor Srinivas Reddy, sir. You were discussing about the features.
Yeah.
So would you like to finish those features?
Yeah, I think I have mentioned about 4 features before, and let me add the 3 more that could not be read out, presented. It pleads for strategic thinking. Strategic thinking means that you have to have a long-term thinking. So normally in administrative or political, more so political decision making, politician is bothered about tomorrow. He is interested in winning the next election. So he is not bothered about the distant future, which is the reason why we have a civil service. So civil service have to be there to as the custodians of the permanent interest. Just to link it up to collector, when India got independence, in the Constituent Assembly also there was a heated debate. Most of the people who were freedom fighters were arguing that the ICS system should be abolished, because they were the people at whose hands the freedom fighters had to suffer. But it was the vision, strategic thinking of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who steamrolled everybody and said that we need to have an institution like the district collector. And district collector, in fact, in the then prevailing circumstances, district collector was very much needed, because there was partition wars were there, and our people did not have much experience in running the administration, only fighting administration they had experience. And under those circumstances, he saved the day for the ICS, which later became IAS. I do think, but now district collectors are not allowed to function that independently as they were functioning in the past. So this change needs to come. Many of the times the political masters are trying to put the honest and people who are very strong-willed and all that into loop lines and all that. They are putting their own people, and secondly,
they are extending the tenure of the people. Retired people are brought in, accountability and all. These things are unfortunately happening. For a country like India, I think district collector has done. Of course, there is a problem also. I am reminded of an old song, a crack collector of equal might works all the night and all the day. So I think I don't know how wisely they can take decision. They are put under so much of pressure and all that. It's important that coming to this point, the public servant should be given the strategic job, but which is not being given now, and they should act democratically. The civil servants have to act very democratically, watching the pulse of the people, studying the mood of the people, and assessing the needs of the people, independent of the political masters. And then next is they should the accountability should go beyond market accountability. Market accountability of NPS harps on return on investment. So if you are establishing a public sector unit, you are putting 500 crores into that, and what money you are getting. But that should not be the important thing. It should be community value. I think education is always a spending proposition. If you work out on the basis of return on investment, education's investment is very long term. So therefore, it should not be simple accountability. It should be a complex system of accountability, integrating public interest, community values, and constitutional law also. And lastly, value people, not productivity. So you don't all the time think about productivity only. Our productivity has gone. I think, in fact, if you look at our food grain production, vegetable production, milk production, tremendous surge is there. And we should not feel happy on the basis of this, because the quality is so much deteriorated. There is no quality of milk, there is no quality of. So therefore, when you value people, this kind of deterioration would not come. So these are 7 important principles or features of new public service.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So Professor Pardhasarahi, sir,
to add on that, what Professor Srinivas Reddy has clearly explained, the important aspect of the new public service is establishing a democratic system. They simply say serve citizens, not the customers. Simply that customer angle has to go out. They focused, actually, the new public service actually focused on, number one, a democratic values. A democratic values has to be established, where democracy is the important aspect of it. So without public administration also we can't survive without a democracy. This is a democratic administration, democratic values and a citizenship rather than about a customer angle. And public interest, their important aspect is what is a public official? Public official has to take care of the public service, public interest and whatever the public social equity, all these type of things they talk about. Another important aspect is citizen engagement. One of the important aspects of the public service, new public service talks about citizen engagement and their talking and their involvement in decision making and their opinion sharing and etc. whatever it is. As Professor Srinivas Reddy sir said about accountability. The accountability is one of the important aspects in the new public service and they talk about democracy over efficiency. Whereas new public, see the whole important aspect is new public service has come a critic of new public management. Then ultimately what the new public service is talking is democracy over efficiency.
Yeah.
You take it.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. May I know who is speaking?
My name is Gnaneshwar from Nagartana Degree College, ma'am.
Your name, please?
Gnaneshwar.
Gnaneshwar.
Gnaneshwar from Nagartana, ma'am, Degree College.
Yeah, please tell me. What is your question?
How to help as a new public service, a concept of Ram Swaraj, the ideal state of Mahatma Gandhi, first term, ma'am. And also another question, please to help us elaborate the Indian government launching its 2015 Digital India program to influence by a new public service. And another question, ma'am, what are the failures of new public service in developing states like countries in India and Pakistan operation in present global era?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the Mahatma Gandhi one? What is he asking about?
No, India. He's asking about a digital India.
That is third
Indian
question.
government. Second question.
So,
Failures is a third question. So first
Linking
is
public service to Mahatma Gandhi.
yeah.
Okay.
Gandhian vision.
Yeah. Say for example, you think of a Gandhian vision. See, Gandhian vision also, this is where the whole question of it, not about the market system. Gandhian vision is talking about a Gram Panchayat actually, a Gram Swaraj, a decentralization, a ethical leadership. This new public service also talks about civic engagement, ethical leadership and the people participation and all these type of things will come into this picture. And moreover, as Mahatma Gandhi's part of he said, a long-term vision, protecting the nature aspect and other things are there, whereas same point here, new public service also raise the same important aspects of it on this. So that's why, as I agree with you, Gandhian views whatever is expressed, some of them reflected in the new public service also even in this time.
Yeah.
So I may just add up one point. Gandhi at some point of time when in India we had the Islamic fundamentalism raising and a lot of civil society disturbances were there and all that. So a reporter asked Mahatma Gandhi what kind of government you want to have, and this was in the context of British people have provided an efficient system, steel frame of Indian administration. So will the government that comes to power after independence will serve so efficient? So Mahatma Gandhi very relevantly said, we prefer self-government to good government. So it's not important that we have efficient government. This is a nailing point as far as the new public service is concerned. New public service opts on efficiency. Efficiency for whom? Efficiency for the capital, efficiency for the labor, efficiency for the poor, efficiency for the rich. So therefore, Mahatma Gandhi had a very clear vision. His vision was, small is beautiful. His vision was people-centered. He was not bothered so much about efficiency, but serving the simple needs of the people and empowering the people. This is, I think, something that we can relate to Mahatma.
So, and I was asking about the Digital India.
Yeah, Digital India program actually 2050, whatever it has started previously on in various phases actually. But now, yes, Government of India actually talking about the Digital India aspect. Yes, after the introduction of the AI and artificial intelligence, whatever we are nowadays looking of, already we are one phase of the Digital India. We have completed various parts into the part. Offices are all e-offices. systems and everything, even orders, GOs, everything, we are sending the mobiles only. Even people are not using emails. Everything is coming to the WhatsApps and other systems are coming. So digital India is one of the important aspect where majority of the people entered into the, for example, how even a person will take your clothes and press it and they bring it. He is also, we are paying about simply on phone pay and other important aspects are there. In the same way, a vegetable vendor, a small lady, without knowing anything also we are paying and she is looking it off. So that's why a digital aspect of a life, it has entered into the life of the people. It's definitely, there is no doubt. And moreover, with the AI, recently one doctor, actually I have seen one report has come of the CT scan report. The PDF they put it to the AI and asked for the reply. Immediately AI has given a different type of it, basically whatever the doctor is saying. In the same way, now the important aspect, please, all our students and the community has to not to just go by that everything is given in AI. You have to improve your skill, you use AI. If you are depending on AI, you are just out. And because one of the question one day we have put to you AI on Mary Parker Follett, we differently put it and we asked it, and that is unable to answer it at all. So whatever you have feed it, they are giving it to you. They are thinking, there is no doubt. It's a machine thinking, machine model, machine language, reading, translation, identifying the words. The digital India definitely is going to help, and we have to support that logic. But not to kill our innovations and humanity and human systems are there. You use it to improve your skill, not for any other aspect of it.
Yeah.
That is what I can say.
Okay, so
I
the
would
last
like to
one,
just
yeah.
add one or two things to the digital India thing. Nowadays, I think digital advancement is going on, and recently I had been to UP, and I have seen that except one place, nobody was accepting this phone pay or electronic mode of payment. And within India, I think the government has to focus a lot on North, which is not really falling into line, whereas South everywhere, I think you go to any place, you are able to do it. So it has taken, I think this point also needs to be understood. The second point is ethics of digital governance. Digital arrests are going and lot of fraud is going on. So therefore government should have ethical infrastructure to arrest this. Side by side, of course, once you open up a technology, people are grabbing it. But of course South has grabbed more than the North. So that is a deficit where it has to be done, and ethical infrastructure also needs to be done. And many times many aged people are reluctant to use this digital mode because there can be some fraud. They do not know how to click. Sometimes they may wrongly click something, the whole money will be going and all that.
Yeah. So third question we will take in the end, sir, that is failures.
Oh.
So before speaking about the criticism and the failures of new public service, Professor Srinivas Reddy, sir, could you please throw light on who are the major contributors for this new public service?
New public service is Vincent and Robert Denards are a couple who have written about this, but there are other important contributors too. If I can go to the intellectual roots of this particular theory, Dwight Waldo, who is considered to be the grand old man of public administration, at whose initiative the new public administration has shaped. He was in right earnest the first person. And there is also mention of Sheldon Wolin, 1960s. He talked about, he says that democracy is only at the surface, and to get it to the bottom, there is need for big push. So these are the two people, and the new public service has started from 1990s. Basically, it started as a critique of new public management, but very articulately a new theory has been proposed by Vincent and Robert Denards.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So, Pardhasarahi, sir, what is the major criticism on NPS, new public service, sir?
Because one, practically to talk, it's a concept of a idealism. See, it's a critique has come against of the NPM, new public management, and because it's depend on efficiency, mechanization of the system, and etc. etc. Whereas new public service is a critical of, basically it is a critique of that. The important aspect of the criticism, you see, bit of thing, a country like India, what Paul H. Appleby has said about a structural system also is required, a democratic governance is required. This is also a link up to the public service system, whereas you take about FW rigs, a model of Sala, a model of a prismatic society, how it works, how the Indian systems works both formal and informal way together, and where these type of systems will go. Like we are talking about all these things about, but the whereas a major criticism on the new public service is it's a root on idealism. It's talk of democracy, it's talk of ethical leadership, it talk of a civic engagement. Yes, all these are here and there appearing. For example, take about in India all the time they say the two cities, one is Indore and Mysore. Indore, even for the ranking, whenever the rank has come for Indore, all the people came out and say, even from they put a car horns on the road and they say number one in the country on the flats, and they are doing, is it a different type of civic? The same type of Indore city recently flooded with a dirty water and other things, and there is nothing has to be going to take in place. The both, whenever we look at it from the perspective of the Indian system of the concern, these are one type of a sweetly quoted a different type of a words to look into it's much better. Whereas in a practical concern, you cannot demand a bureaucrat and to do this like NPM. Yes, I am not a total supporting of the NPM question. Whereas the new public service, yes, we have to consider human beings, we have to think of all these aspects are there. The major criticism is whether it is practicable or not. And the conclusion, they say it's impracticable. Then what is the validity of the new public service? The validity of the new public service is whatever the NPM is talking about, whatever the loopholes of the NPM, these people have raised it and shown to the public we have to change. That's why later part of the new theory of a new public governance which has actually has come to our point.
So thank you, sir. So Professor Srinivas Reddy, sir, would you like to throw light on the limitations of NPS? Yeah, first we'll
Take the call.
Hello. Okay. So would you like to add something to what
I think as Professor Pardhasarahi rightly put it, new public service approach spells out what needs to be done, but how it needs to be done is not there.
Yeah.
That is why it is more idealistic. It's not so very practical, number one. Number two, it is said that new public approach also leads to delays, giving public and I think sometimes ineffective also. One example we can quote, we have the Gram Sabhas in all the villages, and almost throughout the India with very, very few exceptions, Gram Sabha is a gross failure. So on the ground, if you look at the application of new public service, I think Gram Sabha perfectly neatly meets the prescriptions of new public service. But Gram Sabha is not evoking the interest of the people for whatever reasons, and of course the government has to build on that. And another important thing is heterogeneous, unevenly developed society. I think some people are so very articulate. Now, if they start consulting people, there will be some powerful individuals. This is what discourse theory also says. Some vocal people, articulate people, they will bulldoze everybody around, and the majority will be swamped by a minority who are very articulate, and all. These are some of the problems of new public service, limitations of public service.
Thank you, sir. So Professor Pardhasarahi, sir, we had NPA, then NPM, New Public Administration, New Public Management, then New Public Service. So do we have anything after NPS, New Public Service?
Yeah, this is actually new public governance actually. See, for example, whatever previously we were discussing about the new public service, some of the examples from the Indian side we taken and just adding what Professor Srinivas Reddy sir is saying about social audit is one, RTI is one, all these things we are taking about a new public service part. But later part has come about the new public governance. New public governance actually, this is by same Stephen P. Osborne, actually he raised this issue.
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah, please take it.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Yes, please.
Ramya from Hyderabad.
Yeah, your question, please.
So as sir mentioned before, the principles of NPS.
Yes.
So in one of the principles which sir mentioned was citizen participation. So how can NPS ensure meaningful citizen participation when the policy dates are influenced by global institutions in this globalized world?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
That is my question,
Yeah,
ma'am.
thank you. So we have just 2 minutes time, you please
Yeah,
briefly.
simple. See, the question is the major policy systems and everything is influenced by corporate groups and international. There is no doubt about it. The question of the practical implementation of it is there. You have to consult the local people also. Without the local people, we can't do this. This is one of the important aspects. That is where the new public service, civic engagement. And what see, it's not the major policy issue. What is happening in your ward or what is happening in your village, let the consult the people and take an opinion from them. That is where the new public service talks about. As we are talking about the new public governance parties. It's a network governance, PPPs, collaboration and multi-actors participation. All these type of things are required. This is actually one way. Little bit what you can call is simplifying or little bit is sugar coating the NPM again. There is a new public governance actually has come. This is NPA. This is what the another important latest activity of the in public administration system.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. So far we have discussed on new public service, wherein we have discussed about the evolution of public administration, then we have discussed about new public administration, new public management, the features of new public management and the impact of new public management, and we have discussed about the concept of new public service and what are the features of the new public service and who are the major contributors of the new public service, and also about the concept of and the failures of the new public service, and also the concept after the new public service, that is the new public governance. So I thank our experts today, Professor Pardhasarahi sir and Professor Srinivas Reddy sir, for coming all the way and explaining to our students in a very simple way, so that it will be helpful for them, not only for our syllabus but also for the competitive exams. I am sure all the students will be benefited by this lesson where the eminent
public administration subject experts are here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.